Welcome to Birdsbury Sports, where we weekly cover Ravens and Orioles news. We're your hosts, TJ and Jared. And in this video, we're going to be doing a game recap of the Christmas Day win over the Texans.
Just
I
they
wanted
beat down.
I wanted to say something that I said to you in the messages, but I don't know if it's appropriate for YouTube. But we definitely dragged something across their field, on Christmas Day. We had a little bit of swagger. So that was just. I'm still in awe by the score. Like I never expect us to win 31-2. Like that's just I thought that would be like a score origami, but apparently it's happened before. But just a dominating win. Um, I'm not gonna lie, I was very confident about that game going in. Like I
I was too.
had a feeling I knew we were gonna win. And
Yeah.
this it's kind of crazy because we were talking about last year how it was kind of like, set up perfectly for the Ravens to win the Super Bowl, get that number one seed, have home field advantage. These past 2 weeks have kind of been set up perfectly for us to win the AFC North again. We get matched up with the kind of struggling Texans. They're still a good team, but they've been struggling with injuries. They kind of have lost their identity on offense because their two playmakers are gone for the season. And the Steelers have to play the Chiefs. I knew the Chiefs were going to win, so we're in a great position now to win the AFC North, just like how we were last year. So hopefully it all plays out. We still got one more game to win, but this game was just dominant. A continuation of dominance from our defense. Derrick Henry finally got a touchdown. This is his first touchdown in the month of December, and that will be his only one. Unfortunately. So, kudos to him having a great game. The running lanes are just open all game.
Yeah.
Um, Lamar had a great game. He had some touchdown passes to Likely. He had that touchdown run. Where he said he was just jogging. So all around, it was just a great team win. I'm just really proud of defense. Really, it's
Yeah.
cool because I made a prediction that we would get like 7 to 8 sacks. We ended up getting six. And then Kyle Hamilton got an interception, and CJ Stroud was, kind of saying that stuff about him, earlier in the year. It's just all around great, team win. I feel like the defense, you know, the whole entire defense are the MVPs of this game. They kept it scoreless. AD Washington has some clutch tackles. Everybody was clutch. So, what are your
Yeah.
opening thoughts about this game?
Yeah. You know, I was very confident going into this week too. Like I just knew that like after we beat the Steelers, we had to beat the Steelers because I felt like those last two games were incredibly winnable for us. So and honestly, these last four games between the Giants, Steelers, Texans, and Browns are all very winnable to me. We are better than all four of those teams. We should beat all four of those teams. And but we know how we are with the Steelers. We struggle with against them. So getting over that hump finally, I knew, not saying I didn't know we are gonna just like blow them out or anything, but I was very confident we were gonna win. I got a little nervous up until game time, but after the first possession, I was like, yeah, I think the Ravens are gonna kind of you know, not dominate, but they're definitely going to win. And then with the way this defense is playing, they're playing with that same swag they had last year. They're like celebrating, jumping on the sidelines, like they're just Zach Orr is like almost breaking his back again. Freaking jumping on freaking AD Washington after that fourth down play. Like, Zach Orr has really turned this defense around. Dean Pease has definitely probably helped. For the most part. And shout out to Zach Orr. And we don't know if it's for sure that he's the one who brought in Dean Pease or he asked for help. But whoever it was a great idea. Whether it was Harbaugh or Zach or whatever, whoever it was, kudos to them for admitting, maybe we need a little bit of help here. So and then kudos to the players. I mean, they cared enough to have a team meeting, a player meeting, a defensive meeting to be like, look, we cannot continue to play like this. We need to find a way to make changes and make it now. And they've looked great ever since that meeting. I think it started right before the Steelers week, and they've looked great ever since then. I think they've only let me look. I have it written down here. Yeah, that Steelers game, the most points they've allowed since that is 24 points. And after that, the defensive meeting after the Bengals game, because the Bengals game they allowed 34, and the most they've allowed ever since then is 34. The points we've allowed in that time span is 18, 23, 24, 14, 17, and 2, which is really zero. So, this defense has been absolutely locked down. I mean, Kyle Hamilton and AD Washington back there have been holding it down. Nate Wiggins, Marlon Humphrey been holding it down. Brandon Stevens is still kind of the liability in the secondary, but he's made some pretty good plays these last 2 weeks. He didn't really have much of an impact or negative impact in the Texans game, but he did have that tackle for loss as well. He had the tackle for loss versus the Steelers as well, on Jalen Warren, I believe. That kind of sealed the deal in the game. So, if he could continue to be that playmaker, he did. If he, as long as he's not getting pass interferences, we should be cool. But it seems like we're getting a little bit more pressure as well. That's another thing. It seems like we're getting a little bit more pressure, and I think that has to do with KVN, getting some rest. He got hurt, before the Eagles week, didn't play, had the bye, and he seems to be back to full strength. Everyone seems to forget he had that broken eye. Let's not forget that happened.
Mhm.
So this defense seems to be rejuvenated. This offense, this has found a second groove. They really needed to because I mean they were very inconsistent leading up into that bye week. I think a lot of that had to do with maybe they were just a little bit sluggish. They needed some time off, and that's exactly what they got. That's exactly what they deserve. Harbaugh gave them 4 days off after the Christmas game, so hopefully again they're nice and rejuvenated for that Saturday game versus the Browns. And whatever Harbaugh and the company did to make sure that we can find a second gear going to the second half of the season, it's worked so far. So you got to finish business versus Cleveland. I mean, you really should. You're like almost 19-point favorites in that game. Me and TJ will be at the game, hopefully for the second straight year, watching the Ravens clinch the AFC North. And then after that, we had tickets to the wild card game as well. So hopefully, we're going 2 weeks in a row. It's gonna be cold. Those 2 weeks. I heard there's supposed to be an Arctic blast that weekend. So make sure we need to get you a face mask.
This upcoming weekend, like,
This
is it against
weekend's
the
supposed to
Browns?
be this weekend's supposed to be cold, but the Arctic blast is supposed to get here till wild card weekend. So,
Okay.
if you look on the weather app, they're saying like 20 something degrees those days. So we need to get you a face mask.
Yeah. Yeah, we
You,
do.
you, you know I'm serious. While you're at work, whatever, you like go around shopping and get a face mask.
Yeah, we can't go in the Ravens store. No, I'm just playing, but
Well,
yeah.
yeah, it'll be rude.
Yeah, it'll be but it's crazy, because I just realized, when you were talking, again, I keep making these connections to 2012, but I remember in 2012, in the middle of the season, we had that kind of offense coordinator change. And we didn't really have a coordinator change this year, but just like how you said, just adding Dean Pease, to the defense, everything is kind of reminiscent of that season. I really think this year is the year, but you
Yeah,
know,
and then look, I mean,
it's
losing,
crazy.
losing a home game. Okay,
Yeah.
this is okay. Listen, this is gonna make a crazy connection. This Kyrie's stretching it a little bit, but losing a home game, a 4 o'clock game, wearing your black jerseys right before a rest period at home. Like I said, 4 o'clock game. Uh, not we didn't have a losing streak going up into that point, but we lost what, two out of three, in that span, 2 out of 3 games. So, it's not a 3 game losing streak per se, but it's still, we weren't playing consistent ball, so going over into that bye week, the Ravens didn't have a bye week, uh in the 2012 season, but they figured it out. In those last 2 weeks of the season, they seem to have that nice fire versus the Giants. Guess who the team played this year to rejuvenate this team? The
Yeah.
Giants here this year and the Giants in 2012.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm just
Yeah.
saying. I'm just saying. I'm like,
The NFC East in both years is all. And
and we
we
played the
played the
NFC
Giants
East,
in the Super Bowl too.
and we played the NFC East that year. We played the AFC West that year. So I'm not okay. That it's a stretch. It's really a stretch.
It is.
But but history loves to repeat itself, though. I'll just
Yeah.
say that.
And this year, I really feel it. I
Oh,
really do.
and coming off an AFC Championship loss
Yep.
to the
That was the
supposed
main,
dynasty.
that was the main thing on my head too. That was the
Yeah,
first
so
connection. Yeah.
we're gonna get ourselves hyped up for the postseason. Hopefully we won't put another stinker up. But um, maybe going in the second half of the video, I'll go on and why maybe I don't think that's the case this year. But anyways,
Let's go into those stats.
all right.
Okay.
I thought I wasn't recording for a second. We did just talk. We just been talking to the air.
Yeah. All
All
right.
right.
So very, very easy day for Lamar. 10 of 15, 168 yards, 2 touchdowns. Just very efficient. Josh Johnson went 1 of 2. Honestly, should have been 2 of 2. He had that throw. He was a nice throw that Tez Walker just dropped. So he has to fix that kind of getting my words out. He has to fix that, pretty soon because we might need him, in the future.
Right.
Yeah. So now going on to the rushing, Derrick Henry had a great game. 27 carries for 147 yards and a touchdown. I just want to say, like, it's disappointing because I remember for the longest point in time, Derrick Henry was leading, the rush
Yeah.
for the NFL. And, he kind of had those games where he had like 60 yards, kind of like Saquon Barkley catch up to him. And now Saquon Barkley's most likely going to break the rushing record. Even though people won't look at it seriously because it's an extra game, but it's still a great record to break. But I just can't help but think Derrick Henry could have been there too. He would need like
Right.
300 yards rushing to even get to the 2000. So it's crazy. But Lamar Jackson had 4 carries for 87 yards, also had a touchdown. Keaton Mitchell got some carries, 11 carries for 20 yards. So, just great rushing attack, 251 rushing yards. Wow. Going on to the receiving, Mark Andrews had 2 receptions for 68 yards. He should have had a touchdown on that 1 reception.
Yeah.
Uh, Dave Flowers had 2 receptions for 31 yards. Keaton Mitchell had 1 reception for 28 yards. Derrick Henry had 2 receptions for 18 yards. Anthony Miller had 1 reception for 16 yards. I was surprised to see him. Rashard Bateman had 1 reception for 12 yards. And Isaiah Likely had 1 reception for 9 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah.
Basically, it for receiving.
Uh-huh. Sorry, my mom had to say something.
Oh,
But anyways, I believe that QBR rating is one of the highest of all time. I'm not believing in a game, if I'm not mistaken. If you can maybe fact check that on me. But anyways, move on to the defense. Roquan Smith had 8 tackles, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss. Marlon Humphrey had 7 total tackles, 1 tackle for loss and a pass deflection. He also had a BS what do you want to call it? BS pass interference call on him. That wasn't pass interference on that fourth down. KVN has 4 total tackles, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss, and a QB hit. Brandon Stevens and Nate Wiggins each combined for 3 tackles. Nate Wiggins has a pass deflection. Broderick Washington, not Broderick Jones, has 3 total tackles. Chris Board has 2 total tackles, a sack, and a tackle for loss, and a QB hit. Chris Board has done very well in the replacement for Trent Simpson. Trent Simpson looked a little lost, for most of this year. He looked good at first, but seemed to just kind of not find his footing, as the season went on. So I think Chris Board and funny enough, Malik Harrison have been making it easier for Roquan Smith out there. So hopefully Trent Simpson can come into his own. I think he's a linebacker of the future for this team, at least LB2. So
yeah.
hopefully development isn't stunted because of the season. But anyways, AD Washington has 2 total tackles. Tre'Davious White has 2 total tackles. Bo Braid has 2 total tackles as well. Kyle Hamilton is a tackle, or 2 total tackles. He has a pass deflection and a pick. Michael Pierce has 2 total tackles. Excuse me. Nandi Madubuike has a tackle for loss, a sack, and 3 QB hits. Odafe Owe has a tackle, a QB hit, 2 QB hits, a sack, and 1 tackle for loss. And we don't really have to go over all these guys here. Like I said, Kyle Hamilton did have an interception. To move on to the team stats, the Ravens had 25 first downs to their own 10 only. We had 8 passing first downs. They had 8 as well. We had 16 rushing first downs. They had 1. We had a first down from a penalty, and so did they. We were 4 for 9 on third down, and they were 4 for 15. We ran 61 total plays to their 54. We had 432 total yards to their 211. We had 10 total drives, and they had 11. We averaged 7.1 yards per play to their 3.9. We had 181 passing yards to their 153. We had 251 rushing yards to their 858. We had it on 43 attempts. They had it on 17. Yards per rush, we averaged 5.8 yards per rush to their 3.4. We were 3 for 3 in the red zone. They were 0 for 2. We had 3 penalties for 30 yards, and they had 5 for 49. They had the turnover, and we didn't. And we won the time of possession battle. 35 minutes, 21 seconds. We had the ball to their 24 minutes and 39 seconds. So just an overall domination. Christmas ass beaten again on another team. Um, Obviously, this team doesn't compare to the 49ers from last year, but it's still a good win for over a division opponent. I mean, versus division winner, I should say.
Yeah, and just continuing to keep the momentum going, going into this last game of the season. I feel like, we should get the job done.
Yeah.
We beat the Steelers. We got over that hump. We again, you just beat a divisional, winner. Let's finish out the season. This is given to us. 12 and
Yeah.
5, right on the table. Only one loss between, last year and this year's hopeful record. So
Yeah.
need to get the job done, you
And
know.
it's a tale of seasons, for each team, from 2023 team to 2024 team.
Yeah.
The records might be a game difference, at this point. Obviously we have to win on Saturday, but I expect us to win on Saturday. We should be 12 and 5, and we're only going to be one game worse than the team last year. Now, obviously we're going to be two seeds worse, but that is just because of the Buffalo Bills and
Not
the
even bad at
Chiefs.
all either.
Right, exactly. The Buffalo Bills and the Chiefs are having great seasons, but I kind of want to get into that, after what I'm going to say here. But these are two different teams, and just the amount of adversity the Ravens have gone through this year. From all that they've lost on the defensive side of coaches, the offensive coaches as well. We've lost a lot of guys going into the season. Lost a lot of starters as well. Geno Stone, Patrick Queen, John Simpson, Morgan Moses, Kevin Zeitler. We lost Gus Edwards, J.K. Dobbins. We lost Odell Beckham. We lost so many guys going into this year. And everyone just kind of thought maybe we have a regression. And honestly, we definitely did have some sort of regression, but the offense seemed to kind of pick up where it left off and started to be historic. But then the offense started to regress a little bit. Defense started to figure out a little bit, but there wasn't any, coexisting between two, great forces on our team. But it seems like now the Ravens have started to find their way to have successful offense and a successful defense going into the postseason, because right now is where you want to figure it out. You don't want to go into the postseason with a whole varying a bunch of issues. You don't want that. So it's good that the Ravens are finding this stride now. But like I said, the Ravens didn't go through adversity, which is why they got punched in the mouth in the AFC Championship game, and which is why they couldn't respond from that as well. They didn't really get. I mean, we're talking about the AFC Championship at home. You're the one seed. You have the upcoming MVP, and I mean the Chiefs, just the first drive. Obviously we did a 3-and-out, and the Chiefs' first drives just drove right down on down our freaking defense, the best defense in the league. They did two drives in a row, and the Ravens played scared the rest of the way. So honestly, there's no excuses for that anymore. You've been punched in the mouth how many times this year? You've had to have so many comebacks this year. You've had a lot of internal adversity you've had to go through. There is a lot that the Ravens have had to go through this season. Thank God. Actually, I'm not even going to say that part. But what I'm going to say is the Ravens have gone a lot through adversity even before the season began and in the midseason. And the fact that the Ravens have started to figure out their own issues as the season has gone along shows, honestly, I think Harbaugh's doing a hell of a job this year, honestly. Keeping it all together, making sure. I mean, we could have easily fallen apart on many ends, of the spectrum here. We could have easily fallen apart. We could have easily been like, all right, we're losing stride offensively, or we could early in the season we're gonna be like, our defense sucks. We're not gonna win the Super Bowl. It's just it, it, the fact that they've made changes midseason. They're willing to bench people so other guys can start. It's just it's encouraging to me, and I guess I want to give my props to Harbaugh, Zach Orr, Todd Monken, and all the coaches in the organization who've really kept this ship afloat to make sure that we can stand on two legs by the time the postseason comes. And honestly, to kind of transition into something different, I'm getting tired of this MVP talk. First of all, I think that the conversation is starting to get lazy to me, because now everybody, and I mean everybody, is, well, okay, most people are pulling for Lamar to win this MVP, but unfortunately, it seems like the people who are going to be voting for him aren't. Obviously, there are a few voters, that seem like they're probably going to go Lamar. I mean, Josh Allen's probably not going to win unanimous MVP, but I mean, we have the media now against Lamar at this point when it comes to the MVP conversation, where they are blatantly lying about stats to make Josh Allen look better. I was watching the Bills and the Patriots game yesterday, and they said Lamar had 9 turnovers last year when he only has 7. This year, when he only has 7. Last week, when the Patriots were playing the Bills, first of all, Josh Allen played like dog shit that game against a 3-win team. He played like absolute trash. On the final graphic of the game, they had Drake May stats up there. He had his interception up there because he threw one. CBS didn't even display Josh Allen's interception. The media is flat out lying to you about Lamar Jackson and his stats, and they're lying about how good Josh Allen actually has been this year. For real. And they're going to make it seem like Lamar Jackson has this plethora of talent, way out of the stratospheres, compared to the Bills. When first of all, the Bills have plenty of talent on that team. When they have James Cook, Keon Coleman has been very good for them, and Amari Cooper. They couldn't last a full season without trading for Amari Cooper and getting different offensive weapons for Allen. As soon as they went through the smallest bit of adversity, the smallest bit, when Josh Allen shit the bed in Houston and went 9 for 30 and lost the game, they wanted to go trade out for Amari Cooper. Now, that's not really his fault. His front office is doing the job. But we're talking about Lamar Jackson winning the MVP with Chris Moore as wide receiver 2, Willie Snead as wide receiver 3, and a hurt and injured, very soft Marquise Brown in his rookie year, and non-big game performer Mark Andrews in 2019 as well. So and how many MVPs has Josh Allen won when he had Stephon Diggs and company and Gabe Davis? How many MVPs did he win? How many MVPs do you? None. How many AFC championships has he been in the last few seasons? None. None. Now, to go right back into the MVP talk, like I said, I don't think Lamar's going to win it. Because honestly, the shit that Romo was saying yesterday on the broadcast, when he was pretty much saying that you are going to lean on the guy who has no MVPs compared to the guy who has two, that is lazy. That is lazy. Hopefully, Tony Romo doesn't have a vote because that is absolutely ridiculous. And if anybody's telling you that these voters have voter fatigue, then they don't deserve to be MVP voters. They don't deserve to be. You can. If this was Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady or Eli Manning or Peyton Manning or whoever, there wouldn't be a talk about voter fatigue. It'd be this guy is having a great season, has historic season. Lamar Jackson is doing things that people haven't seen, running the ball and throwing the ball. We're talking about a guy with the second highest passer rating of all time in a season. He is a good game away versus the Browns from having the highest quarterback rating of all time in one season with 40 touchdowns and under 5 interceptions and 4,000 yards and almost 1,000 rushing yards as well. So I don't know what this talk about this, what Dan Orlovsky saying this is a runaway MVP a few weeks ago. I don't get it. Because now at this point, we're going to be talking about with the Ravens having at least one less loss than the Bills now, if you want to make it about record. So that's kind of my MVP rant right there. And if I was a voter, I'd be voting for Lamar Jackson because Lamar Jackson, to me, has had a season way above Josh Allen, in my opinion. I mean, and that's not to take away anything from Josh Allen. Josh Allen has done great things this year, but Lamar's doing historic things. There's one thing about having a great season, there's one thing about having a historic season.
Yeah, and I'll just add a couple of quick things here. They played off, they faced each other and Lamar, Lamar
Yeah.
crushed him. And
Yep.
we didn't win that game because of Derrick Henry. He was a big reason why, but Lamar
Yeah.
also played good as well. And I saw some other people say, "Oh, well, Lamar has a hundred less snaps than Josh Allen." Well, you gotta realize some games they took Lamar out
Yeah. He's not a stat pattern.
early. He could have stat padded against the Giants. He didn't want to. So
Yeah.
they took him out early. And
There's
another
video, there's
thing is,
audio, there's video evidence of that.
yeah, and another thing is they're using the fact that our receivers get open more than the Bills receivers. That has nothing to do with Lamar. That has something
Right.
to do with their route assignment and the receivers. So
Exactly. And on top of
none of those things
everything,
should be used against him, for real.
Lamar has the highest rating in tight window throws of all quarterbacks in the league. Highest rating. So I
Yep.
don't want to hear this about, oh, all his receivers are open or whatever. That is schematic. Like how
Yeah,
you said, that is all schematic.
we know what the MVP should be. And plus Lamar's
Exactly.
gonna have 4,000 passing yards. He's gonna get
Exactly.
4,000 passing yards against the Browns. He's
Exactly.
never done that in his career before.
Yep.
He's gonna get 40 passing touchdowns against the Browns.
Exactly. So I think all that, I don't know if you heard any of that from yesterday what Romo was saying.
I did. I
It was
did.
disgusting. It's all gross. It is all gross. It seems like when they're talking about Lamar, it's like he's great, but when Josh Allen, it's oh he's amazing. He's the next coming of Jesus Christ. Like it's just I don't get it. It seems like every time they want to praise Lamar, it comes with an asterisk. Oh, it's because of Derrick Henry. Oh, like all right. They
No,
make each other better. That is the point of fielding a team together. And anybody who wants to say that we'd be an 8 or 9 win team without Lamar Jackson, give me a break. Give me a break. You
what,
put some bum back there. Put some bum back there at quarterback. Derrick Henry is getting stuffed every play because all they're going to do is load the box. That's all they're going to do because our offensive line is garbage when compared to that. Lamar and Derrick Henry make this offensive line probably look like one of the top five in the league. When if you put a bum back there like Tyler Huntley, they're going to be freaking swarmed in a few seconds. So I don't want to hear this stuff that if you take Josh Allen of the Bills, they're going to be a 3-win team, and that's probably true. That's probably true. So would the Ravens.
we don't win either the Bengals game. We don't win against the Commanders. There's a lot of games we don't win against.
Exactly. We're not close in that Chiefs game. We're not close in that Chiefs game. We lose both of the Bengals games. We might even lose that Steelers game for all I know.
We do. We will. We would lose it.
Exactly. So, I don't want to hear this, oh, Derrick
It's the
Henry
Bucks game
elevates
too.
Lamar. They elevate each other. They just elevate each other. I didn't hear nothing. Josh Allen got made because of Stephon Diggs. It was never that. It was these two are made for each other or whatever. It was never that Stephon Diggs made him. It
Yeah,
was
yeah.
always they were a perfect match. But when he gets a superstar in Derrick Henry, it's Derrick Henry makes Lamar better. They make each other better.
It's just a lot of false narratives going out around here.
Exactly.
Hopefully, Lamar can win, but at the same time, he wants to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But we want what's rightfully deserved given to him. So hopefully
Yeah.
that works itself out. But we're running a little bit out of time here on this video. But honestly, I would love to talk more about this MVP debate. Maybe another video. But
Okay.
that's about all we got for you guys in this video. A great win, 31-2. We're now 11-5. Let's get 12-5 and win the AFC North next week.
Yes, sir.
Make sure to like and subscribe on this video. Comment down below what you thought about the game. Also, check out our social medias, our Instagram, our TikTok, our Twitter. Check out, the amazing graphics Jared makes on IG. Also, check out our second channel, Casual Cinema. We'll get something on there soon. Voice is cracking, but we're Birds Play Sports, and we're out.
Wow.